the first question I have for you is how and where did you find wrestling, and in what way would you say it's impacted your life?
Um, I found wrestling just because of my dad. My dad wrestled in high school over in the Chicagoland area, and he just got me involved. And as I can remember, as little as I can remember, that's like the first thing I ever known, and it's the first thing I loved at a very young age. I started wrestling at the age of 4. So yeah, wrestling has impacted my life a lot. It's something I've done since I've been a baby. Basically, I've been around it my whole
Right.
life, and it's given me an education. I got a bachelor's degree in business marketing from Iowa State, and then I'm finishing up my master's degree in sports leadership here at University of Wisconsin-Madison.
So would you say that that wrestling has opened a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities throughout the time that you've been involved with the sport?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, um, you know, I think in all sports, you can take advantage of a lot, and I've certainly taken advantage of wrestling just because I don't think if it wasn't for wrestling, I probably wouldn't have gone to college or anything, just good
Mhm.
financially. So I think that I've taken full advantage of wrestling, and used it kind of against it, and just got an education, and it's given me so many friendships, and like just meeting alumni from both Iowa State and Wisconsin, business opportunities and stuff like that. So I thank wrestling a lot for what it has been able to give me.
Right. No, and you mentioned the relationships that go along with the sport, and I think those relationships are truly unique and valuable because of how unique the sport is. In the regard of the work you have to put in, the toughness, the determination, and all that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, wrestling can open up a lot of doors, and not even when it comes to wrestling, like when life outside of wrestling, when you're going to get a job, I think a lot of jobs hire wrestlers just because of the work ethic and things like that, and the struggles they have to endure in
Right.
order to be at the top of wrestling. So I think you put that you wrestled at a university or something like that on a resume, you stick out than a lot of other potential employees.
Right. No, and you kind of hit the nail on the head with it's the somebody, say an employer seeing that they look and they're like, hey, this guy's put in a lot of work and he's determined if he's stuck through that, and especially wrestling in college and put in the work to get to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, as a prep, you were one of the most sought after preps in the country. When you were making that switch into college, what were your goals going into college?
Um, just taking it one day at a time, not looking too far ahead and getting, antsy and stuff like that. College wrestling is a whole lot different from high school wrestling.
Right.
Everyone at the Division 1 level or any level when they go to college is pretty dang on tough. So you have to be ready every single day when you step into that wrestling room just for practice, because you got guys that are trying to beat you out for the spot. So you kind of have to show every day that that you're the top dog, and that you're here to do a job. And that was kind of my mindset going into college my freshman year. Even though I was a freshman, I had a lot to prove because no one cares what I did or what you did in high school. That's out the window. When you go to college, everything you did in high school doesn't matter anymore because you're starting fresh.
Right.
So like my mindset going into freshman year was just, hey, I'm gonna prove to the upperclassmen and to my coaches that I'm one of the hardest working guys in this room. It doesn't matter if I'm a freshman or not. I'm trying to prove a point here, and my job going in freshman year is just to prove that I want to go win a national title.
No, and great point with things you've accomplished in high school translating over and really starting fresh in college, because that can really it can serve almost like as a shock to some people who say, we're 4-time, 5-time state champs and had this dominant run in high school and then switching over to college when you're in a room, say, with Big Ten champions, NCAA qualifiers, a room full of killers, and you got to really start from square one and figure it out on a whole different level.
Yeah, exactly. I know when I entered my freshman year, no one cared what I did in high school or, how many state titles I won. It doesn't matter. I remember my first practice when I was at Iowa State, I was on my back for like 45 minutes against a 57 pounder. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of just like eye opening, like, hey, yeah, I'm not that good yet. So there's a lot of work to be done. And, that's just coming in with the mindset of getting better every single day,
Right.
throwing everything that you did in the past, basically just forgetting about it because it doesn't matter anymore. I think that a lot of guys that are making the transition into college, some of them are too caught up in of what they did in high school. They're like, oh, high school, I did this in high school, I should be able to do this in college. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. You have to prove yourself all over again just because college wrestling is so much harder and different.
No, absolutely. And most time it's a completely new group that you have to prove to. And I think you made a good point with having that open mindset to every day coming in and having a plan and looking to improve and do the small things right that could help in the long run.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, kind of staying on the topic of your freshman year, ultimately, what made you choose Iowa State as the initial place where you wanted to continue your academic and athletic career?
Um, yeah, so when I committed to Iowa State, I was a junior, so I committed pretty early. It was like my junior year, right before my junior year even started, like wrestling season wise. When I committed, it was the old coaching staff, so it was Kevin Jackson, Angel Escobedo, Travis, and Trent Polson.
Okay.
When I committed there, they were probably one of the worst teams in the country, and I was a sought after recruit, so me committing there was kind of like a shock to everybody. But to me, I just felt really comfortable with them, and I believe that they could have gotten me to where I wanted to be.
Right.
And you know, after they got let go, and Kevin Dresser, Brett Metcalf, Derek St. John, and Mike Zadek got hired. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had asked for my release, but Kevin Dresser came to my home like a week or two after my state tournament and was like, "Hey, we want you to stay." And after dinner, I told him that I'm going to stay and come to Iowa State. Like I'm committed to you guys because I've been committed to them for a year and a half now. But yeah, I mean, I love the campus. I love Ames. You know, it's just a great town, and Iowa is wrestling. If you want
Right.
to put your name out there, you go wrestle in the state of Iowa, and you can go to a grocery store and people are going to recognize you.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, that was pretty cool. But yeah, Ames is just a super cool town. I was actually just there for the past week and a half, getting some training in and visiting some friends for a wedding. So, yeah, that when I talk about Ames, I can't do anything but smile just because I've made so many memories there and some of my best friends there. So I'm really happy that I chose Iowa State coming out of high school.
Now, kind of going back on what you said a little bit, you mentioned that you felt comfortable at Iowa State, and that kind of reminded me of a quote I read the other day, and it was on the topic of the different colleges that athletes compete for. There's the constant debate of JUCO, NAIA, D3, D2, D1, and one coach said it's best to go to the place where you feel you'll be the most appreciated rather than like the highest I want to say like highest known school. Like it's one thing to say, oh, I wrestled for so and so college, but wrestled 3 extra matches my entire college career, and then go to one college and have the most opportunities to compete regularly and be appreciated in that aspect.
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody. Some guys who just aren't made out. You just have to go where you're comfortable. And
Yeah.
that might not be a Division I school like the Penn State or the Iowas, Wisconsin, whatever it is. And if going D2 or D3 or JUCO is the best thing for you, then hey, that's the best thing for you. You got to go where you think you're going to succeed,
Mhm.
and where you think you can become not only the best wrestler, but the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
And I think not a lot of athletes, wrestlers, think that. They think about, okay, I want to go Division I. well,
Mhm.
hey, you might not be cut out for Division 1, and some guys might get put their head down about that and get kind of upset, but you don't have to wrestle for Division 1 for people to know about you or for you to succeed. So I think every situation is a little different, and you see some guys who start off at a Division 1 school, and they start to realize after the first or second year, like, yeah, this might not be cut out for me. Let me go somewhere else, whether it's D2, D3, and stuff like that.
Right, and, also the bottom line is such a small percentage of athletes that go to college actually compete regularly,
Yep.
and I know it's a less than 10% number of athletes, but so I think no matter the division, you're still competing in college, which is doing a lot more than what the average athlete is doing, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, let's chat about your pin over RBY in the Southern Scuffle in Chattanooga. Now, to make sure I kind of got this right, I went back and checked, and I couldn't find anything else, so I'm just going to go with it. But I believe you're the only person to have pinned RBY in college.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not too sure.
I know Seth Gross spladled him, but he didn't pin him in that match. But just what was that win like? And in the moment, what was going through your head?
This is actually like funny to talk about just because me and RBY are really good friends. He was just in Chicago like a week and a half ago, and we got some training in and stuff like that. I've known Roman for a long, probably going on almost 10 years now. I've known Roman. So me and him are really close friends. And when we were training back at home, he's like, "Hey, you need to show me that double under throw that you pinned me in and stuff like that, because I need some throws." And I just started laughing. But yeah, Roman he was a true freshman at the time.
Right.
He was a sought after recruit, and he was really stinking good. I've never wrestled anybody that fast, and that dude's really freaking fast. Yeah, I think we both had a lot to prove. I was a redshirt freshman, he was a true freshman, and I think I was down like 8-2 even before I pinned him, just because he caught me on my back and was kind of taking me down. And yeah, it was just kind of a thing that I just went for, got to a good position, and just said, let's just throw it and see what happens. And luckily, it stuck. But yeah, it kind of just put my name out there, I think, a little bit more, because I think for the Southern Scuffle, they're kind of already writing off like it's going to be RBY and Dayton Fix in the finals. And, that was kind of like a slap in my face, because RBY is a true freshman. I've been around the scene in college would have been my second year in college. So I've been around, I knew what I was capable of. So I was just proving a lot of people wrong. It's just like, hey, you guys need to put some respect on my name, and that I'm here to contend for a national title.
Well, yeah, that's one way to make some noise by doing that. And I know Flo ranked it as the top 10 best matches for that year, at least. So it definitely caught the attention of a lot of people. But so kind of moving on from that redshirt year and moving into the 2021 and 2022 season, you made your comeback from injury and began wrestling for the University of Wisconsin. In the first year, you earned All-American honors and won the Big Ten championships. What does that season mean to you after overcoming the adversity?
Oh, it means the world to me. It just saying that, hey, no matter what you're going through, you can still fight back, and get back to where you belong. And, it's, for me, that season was kind of just like, hey, let's just go out there and wrestle and see where I'm at. I haven't wrestled collegiately since last year in like 3 years. So it had been a while. I didn't know where I was at really. And of course, moving up 2 weight classes was going to be a little different, but I knew I was big enough for 149, just because when I was making 133, I was weighing like 160.
Right.
So and it just means a lot to me, just everything I've gone through over the course of, after making the round of 12 at Iowa State and battling injuries and stuff going on with my family and just outside distractions, just saying that, I forget about everything and just use it as motivation, to come back, and I think, there was a lot of doubters saying like, how's he gonna do this year, And it was kind of just like I was just so wrestling so freely, I wasn't worried about cutting weight. I wasn't worried about if I won or lost. Obviously, you want to win, you don't want to lose, but those results didn't matter to me. When I came back, I just wanted to have fun, and
Mhm.
whatever happened happened. And I think that was the best year that I've ever had, and the most fun I've ever had wrestling was last wrestling season last year. And yeah, I mean, just to be able to say that I'm a Big Ten champ and an All American, not too many guys can say that. So I'll always cherish that year as a year to remember for me.
Now, what type of mindset really kept you going through those years where you had to take off due to injury and you were working on coming back to wrestle collegiately? What kept you going during that time?
My love for the sport, you know, um, my goals that I have for myself, the goal is, even though I was hurt, the goal remained the same of being a national champ, you know, um, and just kind of, it was hard, just trying to stay motivated. I think when I was at Iowa State, I watched more practices than I actually practiced in, just
Mhm.
because I just got the injury bug, and I think a lot of that comes from like not managing my weight right, and social life and all kind of those kind of distractions. So yeah, it was hard. Um, you know, as I kept getting hurt, my love for the sport kept going down. And when I was healthy, I was doing really freaking good. Like I was like, all right, let's get going. Then I get hit or another injury, another concussion, whatever it was. And that's when it was just like, man, I don't know, like mentally if I could take it anymore. All the ups and the downs, it's really taxing mentally and psychologically. So it was really hard, to stay motivated, but I tried the best I could.
Well, you're able to definitely make a comeback, and I know the Big Ten Network featured it on their, I believe it was the Matt series, and marked it as one of the best comebacks in sports history. Definitely, especially on the collegiate level as well. So incredibly impressive to be able to come back and beat the reigning champ Sammy Sasso in the Big Ten, and then All American, and all the other accolades that go along with it. Kind of moving on in that next season. Let's talk about the win over Yanni in the Cornell and Wisconsin duel. Obviously, you shook up the wrestling world again, beating him 9-3. What was your mindset going into that match, and what was going through your mind afterwards?
My mindset going into the match was just, let's just go out and have fun. Let's just go
Mhm.
out and wrestle. I respect Yanni a lot. Um, we've had some conversations back and forth. There's mutual respect there, but I couldn't show him any respect when we were wrestling. I think a lot of guys do that too much to him, and to all the best guys, maybe there's too much respect. But mindset was just go out and have fun and let it fly. Just
Mhm.
wrestle smart and technically and tactically. Going into that match, we had a game plan. Was just to go 0-0 in that first period. Then I get out in the second period, I put him to his back in a position I'm really good at, and then at that point he's just trying to come back and eat up points, and I'm really good kind of defensively with re-attacks and stuff like that, and that's when my offense started to open up and got two more takedowns on him. But after the match, I wasn't really surprised. I expected myself to win that match.
Mhm.
Coaches weren't surprised. That was a guy I was trying to beat all summer. Um, Even though I beat him in, what was it, November, um, I did it at the wrong time. It's a good win, and it's something that I can always remember. But at the end of the day, he won the national championship, but I didn't. So there's not too much to kind of get too high about.
Mhm. Well, I think going into the national tournament, do you think there was a chance to wrestle him again going in to March?
Yeah, I knew. You know, After that match, I knew that we were probably two of the favorites to make it to the finals. Um, Earlier in the season, I was ready for it though. I knew I had the confidence in me, but to go and do that again, to go beat him again. But unfortunately, um, injuries caught me again at the last month and a half of the season. It just wasn't myself after that. So, obviously didn't get that rematch, and I know everybody wanted that rematch. I wanted it, because Yanni's a great competitor. If you want to be the best guy in the country and the best guy in the world, you got to wrestle guys like Yanni.
Right.
And so it was tough, not getting that match again, not having the season that I wanted towards the end.
Well, kind of all in all, though, what advice would you give to a wrestler who is looking to be, the best wrestler they could be, and when it comes to overcoming adversity and staying involved with the sport, what advice would you give them?
Just to have fun. Wrestling's a very serious sport and very taxing on your body, and mentally it's tough. Something that's helped me the past couple of years is just remember that, just go out and have fun and just wrestle freely. You're going to win and you're going to lose. Those losses are going to come. So how are you going to come back from those losses or come back from injury? Just keeping your head high and just remember that it's just a sport. It's not the rest of your life.
Right.
And I think that's something that has helped me. It's that wrestling isn't the end all be all for me. There's more to life than just wrestling. And, no one cares 10 years down the line what I did in college or in wrestling. So yeah, just to go have fun and, just be around just have good support system, trust your coaches, your family, put yourself around the right environment so you can succeed, as in social life, hanging out with the right friends and stuff like that. I always told myself that, if I want to succeed in wrestling and in life, I have to surround myself with like-minded people, people who aren't going to hold me back. You have to surround yourself with people who are going to motivate you to go achieve your goals and go get the things that you want in life.
Well, no, great advice, and thank you for joining me. It's been awesome to get to chat with you and talk over the past couple of seasons in your collegiate career. And best of luck with the international wrestling that's coming up and everything going forward.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Have a good one.
Yep, too.